Okay, so continuing on with recurring shifts, I think what I'd like to do for the next part of the demonstration is make it a little bit more manageable. So let's go ahead and close the date till just say February. And that's a very easy way to clear out what shifts you have to deal with. The other shifts have not been erased. They just have simply disappeared from the window of time that I've set. So I don't have to worry about managing those. So let's go ahead and just do another PSW shift. And this will be February so we can keep them straight. Capital E again. And let's go ahead and set it starting next week from 12, and it doesn't matter how long for this purpose. Let's just do a 2-hour shift this time. We could, of course, put information in here, maximum and minimum. We need 2. So let's go ahead and save that. Now, when we create a recurring shift, we end up with lots of different shifts in a window of time, as we saw in that last window. In a particular month, there could be hundreds of shifts that we're looking at controlling or managing. And one of the ways that will help us in seeing a manageable chunk is by attaching keywords. And what keywords allows us to do is to put a sticky note on that says, these are all the shifts to do with site A, for instance, or these are all the shifts that happen with part-time staff. And the advantage to that is that we're able to sort some of those shifts out based on those keywords. So let's go ahead and show you how that works. If we would like to create a shift called, a keyword called site A, then we would just say every shift at site A. And what I'd be able to do is, assuming that all of these shifts are taking place at that location, all I need to do is type S to search for it. And what I've done is added a tag or a sticky note that will allow me to group the shifts together all in site A. I might need that for reporting. I might also need that for managing those shifts. So what I've done is now I'll go ahead and save that. And if I recur that shift, let's say I set the recurrence just for weekdays, and I only want to do it 10 times. So I don't have to choose the end date. I can also select just the number of times. The system has automatically calculated that. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So now I have shifts for this particular period of time, and notice down here that because I recurred the shift with this information on it, they all have the tag site A. Now let's say I wanted to create a different shift at site B, for instance. Okay, now I can go ahead first. Let's call it PSW shift site B, and it's also 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Let's set that. I think the problem is we got the date. Let's set it for the 9th this time. And of course, we'll have to change this to the 9th as well. And 2 p.m., that's fine. We could set information. Let's change this to 1 so that we can keep them separate. Let's save that. Let's also change colors so that it's a little easier to keep track of. Save that. So this is our original shift. And let's add the site B tag to it. Let's save that. And then let's recur this shift, say, every day. And let's do it for, say, 20 times. Okay, so what we've got is a whole lot of shifts that can be quite difficult to keep track of in our mind. And the reason why we put keywords on is that we'll be able to filter. So because we've attached keywords right now, there are no filters on. But if we were to filter only the shifts in site A, then toggle off, and we get to see just that group of shifts, which means when we multi-select, we could delete, for instance, all those shifts, or we could apply something to all of those shifts using the multi-select. And if we go back and change from site A and just select site B, filter off, toggle off, then what we're able to do is, again, see a little bit more manageable chunk. And that's the reason why it can be powerful to use some of the buttons when there are more shifts. As we talked about before, the shifts and the size are just display. But when we start to get workers on. I don't know how this will display by PDF. We can look at it for a period of time and it'll download, and I'm not sure whether that will display. It probably won't. What I'll do is I'll show that in an upcoming video as to what those printouts look like. So I'll come back to those on another day. But what I'd like to do is demonstrate how some of these things, particularly filters, will help you to be able to keep sort of a manageable piece based on date, always starting with date and time. But the more keywords, the more granular the detail are that we can sort by. So let's just toggle the controls off. Now, something else I wanted to touch on quickly was if we wanted to change, extend, or shorten this particular recurring shift, let's click on the main one. From this point forward, let's edit the recurrence. Let's say we only wanted there to be 10. We can shorten that here, and you'll notice that we just cut that shift. So there is some real power. Beware that if there are appointments on a shift, of course, that can really affect your workers. But there are some very powerful settings that we have in recurrences.